Hello and welcome to Star Citizen Sunday. This is a weekly show which covers all the news over the past week for Star Citizen. I am your host Mac, so let's get on with it. This week we hear more regarding service beacons, we see how dense forest biomes are coming along, plus we hear about the changes to the Gravlev and IFCS systems. So kicking off as usual with calling all devs, first question is what is Weapon System 2.0? Now this is like Item System 2.0 where they're taking the current weapons and converting them to make it easier and more efficient to build them. They're also taking the old XMLs and moving them over to Data Forge. It gives them more scope for bespoke weapons like different behaviours and fire modes, etc. They're also going to make all the weapons feel a little more punchier too. Plus they want to push the attachment system as the weapon stats are now moddable, and I'm very excited for these attachments. Next question, will there be an in-game way to research the lore or history of the universe, something diegetic like a museum? Now the Ark, which is an in-game location, they want this to be a destination where people can visit it to get the Galactopedia up. They also want you to maybe access the Galactopedia via your Mobiglass. The Galactopedia, by the way, is an in-progress encyclopedia documenting all the game's history and lore of the Star Citizen universe. What I would love to see is the Galactopedia accessible through ship consoles. So if you take a job on and you are heading to a specific planet or location, one of your crew members could be researching what to expect from that planet, like the habitation, whether you need an environmental suit, the weather that's expected there, what flora or fauna is going to be there, or whatever you may come across. And I think it's quite important planning ahead when you're traveling to a destination. So being able to do that on board maybe a ship's bridge would be perfect. Next question, will quantum travel be blocked inside asteroid fields? At the moment it's not, you can just quantum travel through asteroids. Now one of the reasons why this is, you're able to do this is due to raycasts. They do plan to spend some time to come up with a method for this, to stop this from happening. It's not on the schedule just yet, but they know there's an issue and they will fix it. Next question, what's the deal with hover bikes and the Gravlev system? They just don't seem to work very well. Now apparently when they worked on it in-house, it was working perfectly fine. When they put it into 3.1, obviously with a lot of the back-end things coming in as well, everything just went wrong. They have got some changes, so they say it is coming along. It's in PTU testing now and they're getting some good feedback. Hopefully they'll get it in for 3.2, they said, but they doubt there's enough time for 3.1. Although, an update on that, I believe one of the PTU builds that we did receive recently had updates to the Gravlev system, and apparently it's working better now. But I haven't checked it, so I'll take a look and let you know. Next question is, how does the atmospheric flight model affect the Gravlev? They're still working on fixing the IFCS and updating the atmospheric model, which needs to really be sorted before doing the Gravlev. They have made great progress on the atmospheric model. VTOLs, for example, are strictly for countering gravity, whereas your maneuvering thrusters are for moving around instead, like accelerating, sorry. But if you're using maneuvering thrusters to hover, because some ships don't have VTOLs, they will wear and tear much quicker. So when that wear and tear comes in, you've got to be a bit more conscious of how you're entering atmosphere and so forth. Final question is to do with the IFCS and where it is now and where do they want it to be. And they say it's very unstable at the moment. The changes for 3.0 hit it hard. The IFCS is currently out of sync from the physics system, but they have done some things to bring it back in line, and it's working better. And currently, they are actually working on the extra stick precision system, so that should be improved as well. Anyway, that was calling all devs, guys. Let me know your thoughts. I'm very excited to see if we can get the Galactopedia in ships. I think that would be a great role for one of the crew members to take on. So starting around the verse this week with the project update, they say more progress has been made on the legacy armor sets for 3.2 plus. New mission givers and shopkeeper animation phases are wrapping up. The shopping kiosk continues to be tweaked. We saw some work in progress clips showing the flow and working paths. Eventually, they said several unique designs will be around for specific looks and branding, representing the locations that they are in. So if you're in a low-tech area, you'll have low-tech kiosks, and in high-tech, you'll have the opposite. The audio continues for different functions and phases of the mining mechanic. The laser and rock sounds will really enhance the mining experience, they say, and give an audible cue as to the situation. Visual effects are also working on the visualizations for how the effects differ, whether you are successful or not. The first clip shows you failing, and the second clip shows how a well-aimed mining laser created minimal blowback from the rock. They've also worked on the Jean's ship explosions and quantum travel effect using the new GPU curl noise functionality. This allows them to apply distinctive visual language to all effects. The ship team is working on 3.2 vessels plus others for future releases. They've done work on the EMP for the Avenger Warlock, and the Constellation Phoenix is in final art, with passes being made on the fish tank and hot tub plus other areas. They're also improving flyable ships like the Starfarer's landing sequence. The prop teams are turning out some new props as seen here. We've got the repair drones, some extractors and machine sleds. They want to create realism to hangars and other areas. The procedural layout work is ongoing as well for these sort of hangars and rooms. They're adding more variation to shop signage and materials on Chris Roberts' orders. Plus there's more work done on hangar elements for modular stations like NPCs and props and other items to create more of a buzzing atmosphere with activity and feeling like they are lived in. I personally do wonder if these props we see, like repair drones and forklifts and all these sleds, whether we'll be able to use them in our own hangars when dealing with cargo and repairing machines and whatnot. I really hope so. I hope they're not just for show. It would be very cool if we could actually interact with them. The rest stop exterior is looking good. They're just awaiting delivery of advertising graphics from UI. The environmental art is testing the visuals and procedural generation for other biomes and environments for Hurston and its moons. They're also identifying natural points of interest where gameplay on these locations will take place. We also saw some dense forest tests and how they will fit into the planet. It looks very cool. Obviously work in progress, nowhere near final, but it's very cool to see these forest biomes. That's what I'm really looking forward to, somewhere like Endor. Also more planet tech improvements, some of which we may see in 3.2, including increased channels for more complex biomes and integrated mineable entities, and they've also increased colour tinting and soft blending for better integration of objects on the terrain. Now the main feature for ATV was the service beacon. This obviously allows players who need or want something to form a contract, and then other players can help if they so wish to. This helps foster relationships between players within the game, creating new friendships, allegiances and even vendettas. 3.1 did lay the groundwork or the framework for beacons, just defending or transportation. It was really just the tip of the iceberg. The UI will be laid out, so there's no real need for a tutorial. It just becomes instinctive, and I did find that trying to create a beacon myself was quite instinctive. There wasn't really a lot to choose from, maybe that's why, but it wasn't difficult. Now the rating system, you are rated on providing and executing a contract. This is per contract type as well, so if you are good at combat, for example, that doesn't mean you'll have a 4-star, 5-star rating for transportation, and vice versa. It is determined by your performance in that area. Also, if you are rated a 3-person or a 3-star, for example, you won't be able to see any 5-star jobs if someone's requesting a 5-star person. They want to ensure that players can exploit the system. So, for example, for combat assistance, players need to be within a specific vicinity of the person requesting the help. And they want to make sure that all these edge cases are caught and there is game logic in place, tailoring each mission type to stop people from trolling each other. But, as you'll hear in Reverse the Verse later on, it's not going to be that simple. They're wanting to make the notifications from beacons be a little more diegetic, so within the game world rather than just a bit of UI popping up. They want the rating to be more precise. Also adding hotkey support for quick dispatching of combat assistance. So if you're in a bit of a bind, you want to hit a button and get some combat assistance quick. They also want to be able to limit your requests to org members or maybe friends only. Also record a variety of stats relating to the provider's performance with real-time feedback, so things like hit ratio or kill percentage, maybe time or speed it takes to do something, or if you're a fuel supplier, the transfer efficiency will be monitored so that you'll have a better rating. This will also allow people to determine when or whether to terminate a contract or what rating to give you. They want to extend the beacons, so maybe pay a certain percentage of the amount if only a specific percentage of the task was completed. Also want to support multiple providers, specifically how many people you may want helping you. So if you wanted 3 people helping you, they will then hire 3 random people that will all work to try and achieve the same goal. Now NPCs will also be given the ability to create and take on beacons, so competing with players for jobs, and also use that to guide the prices for jobs, or if no players around, giving you a little hand. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere and there's not many real players about, you don't want to be stranded there waiting for a real player. An NPC could take it. New contracts that are coming down the line are escorting. That's the next one. Assassination, where you put a price on someone's head. It's going to be terrible for streamers. Points of interest beacon, say like a derelict ship or a mineable area. You can sell the information to others. And obviously refueling and repairing. Anyway, guys, that was around the verse. We'll move on to reverse the verse, which talks a little more about service beacon, answering some of our questions. So kicking off from where we left ATV, the first question is, what will prevent abuse from a person putting out a service beacon? Say like if you requested someone to escort you, but you plan to double cross this guy and take his ship with all your friends, what's in place to stop that? Now, the rating system is the main part of this. If it keeps happening, they will just be weeded out because their rating will be so low that no one will want to do work for them or allow them to work for you. But they don't want to remove those kinds of interactions, as that's all part of the gameplay. It isn't generally safe being picked up by a random person in real life as well, so the rating system will help stop people from trolling a little bit, but they do want gameplay like that to remain for the sake of interesting encounters. Next question is, what reasons are there to not just take missions from 5-star rated people? They did say that it's going to be hard to maintain a 5-star rating. You will be limiting yourself just offering it to 5-star people, and it could take a little longer for a 5-star person to come around. I expect it would cost a bit more as well. If they are a 5-star person, they can charge more, so it's not going to be really logical. Next question, is it possible to make emergency beacons which don't cost money, like calling 911 or 999 for example? Now they say they are looking at this. Distress beacons are on the plan, not necessarily having a price, just needing help, and if someone then wants to help you, they can do. We will still have a reputation associated with it, so you can still see if they are likely to troll you or not, which kind of keeps it so that you can either trust someone or not. And if you are someone who's not trustworthy, your rating will be low, so if you do put out a genuine distress beacon, they will probably look at your rating and be like, nah mate. Anyway, next question. Will we be able to request transportation of our own ships? Not hiring a pilot as such, but having someone take your ship from one location to a new location where you want them to be. And they did say that they want people to take ships as cargo, so absolutely sometime will happen. I really like this idea. It's kind of a bit like taking a car from one area to the next if someone's hired you to do so. Very excited for that. I think someone could earn a good living doing that. Next question is, will we be able to just open up a simple trade sort of service beacon for swapping goods? And they said that they have been talking about a trading window. The service beacon is the beginning of this type of feature, so it's definitely coming, but it will be more like a trading system rather than via a service beacon. So trading credits like UEC, yes, definitely. Commodities as such, they're not really sure. They haven't looked at this yet, but I think it would be good to be able to swap whatever, like one commodity for another one. So later down the line, they may do that, especially if you've not got a lot of UEC, but you have a cargo hold full of, say, wool, for choice of a better idea, and you say, I'll give you all this wool if you can help repair me. Anyway, moving on, will there be any phenomena that could interfere with the beacon's broadcast, like e-warfare or nebula or sandstorms, for example? Now, they say they would like comm to carry the signal, so if you're in an area without comm, you would need something else to boost that signal. It's not fully figured out yet, so they haven't really spoken about e-warfare, which I'm sure you'll be able to stop people from sending out distress beacons and whatnot. Nebulas and sandstorms, they're still going to look into that. Next question, will the service beacon itself become a physical item? And they say they don't think so. It's more signals using communications, not a physical item. Next question is, are beacons the way to find crewmates or recruiting crew? And they say not really. Hiring NPCs and players will be through a recruitment agency. Maybe if you did put out a beacon and someone performed really well, you can then speak to them and say, would you like to join our crew or our org? So it is going to be a way of hiring real people, I'm sure, but not the intended way. Next question, will we be able to write or add text to a beacon to describe the mission? Now, they said it's not really part of the end goal, but it has been mentioned. Apparently they said that they want to keep the universe clean for the kids. I 100% disagree with this. I would like to think that this game is going to be an 18 rated so that you're able to say whatever you want to people. Obviously, when it comes to the friends list and whatnot, you'll be able to hide people and whatnot and, mute people. But yeah, they shouldn't make it clean for kids. To be honest, the kids know more than we do. Next question is placing bounties. What is the idea of this for the future? Now, bounties have been spoken about. Assassinations are the near-term goal. but there will be ramifications with this. So if you kill someone, you'll both get a criminal rating. Bounties are through legal channels, so killing a lawbreaker is fine when it's a bounty. There is still intended to be a full bounty system to be built. This isn't it, but as the criminal system evolves, it will detail a little more about bounties and assassinations. So, second to last question. Will we be able to mask our names in the service beacon, maybe post a beacon anonymously? And they say they haven't really talked about it. It does kind of imply devious nature, but it's a good question and they will discuss it. The name is kind of automatically inserted. Chris Roberts has mentioned a long while ago about altering your signatures and spoofing your identity, so something similar like that could work, maybe in an alias perhaps, but they will speak about that later on and decide what's best course of action. Final question, what is the possibility of service beacons hiring multiple people to accept it? And they say they do want this, just needs a little tech to come up with it. Anyway, that was the RTV talking further about these beacons. Very important, these service beacons, not just for the sake of interacting with real people, but creating missions, creating dynamic missions, creating relationships between people, be it good or bad relationships. Very excited to see this grow more as a system. Love to know your thoughts, guys. Let's move on. Also this week, a new portfolio post titled Lost Squad was released, teaching us about the fate of Squadron 88. A new lore post titled Hostile Negotiations Part 1 was released as well. I'm yet to read that one, so don't give me any spoilers. And finally, we got to see the photos from the Evening with the Chairman dinner for concierge members, which I am very, very jealous about. I just want to say a big thank you to all my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. It is thanks to you guys that I get to do this. If you like what I do and want to help me make it better, please consider becoming a patron. Follow the link in the description below to my Patreon page. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to leave a comment if you've got anything to say. Hit that thumbs up button as it really helps me out. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss another episode.